We've come down to a repointing job on some stone walling with our Roughneck Ultimate Pointing Gun. This really is an incredible piece of equipment. It does so many jobs, and you'll see all the jobs being done. Really great tool, everything thought of, from the thrust for the mechanism to the size of the nozzle to the shape of the plunger. This is just one application for the pointing gun. We're going to run through the rest now. But as you can see, using the right mix, the wall is pointed in record time. We're going to tidy that up now. You'll see a shot of the finished job. So having seen the gun in operation out on site, let's take it to pieces and see what else it can do and how it does it. The first thing that we need to note is that this tube is a 1 litre tube. You can get a whole litre of mortar or grout or sealant or whatever into this tube. The second thing to note is that the rings on the tube are aluminium, so they're going to screw together nice and easily without rusting. Then we'll look at the nozzles themselves that we saw with the pointing. They are interchangeable in such an easy way. You simply unscrew one nozzle and insert one of the others, screwing that nice and tight. So the bigger the joint, the bigger the nozzle, and it's so easy to change. So let's take that out, and then we'll take these aluminium rings off the end to expose the tube and the plunger and the plates. And by that I mean, there we have our plunger. This one, the one that we use for using this as a mortar gun, the plunger's got some splits in it, so that allows the air out as we squeeze the trigger, and the mortar comes out of that end and the air can escape. Okay, so by using the little spanner supplied, we're going to undo the back nut, and I'll show the camera what I'm doing there. Undo the back nut, that locks the plate into place. That will then allow us to take the split ring, the split plunger from the front. The nut is trapped in its little holder. The camera hopefully can see that. And to get the nut out, we turn that over a second, put it on a couple of threads, and simply pull the plunger off. So we'll put the split plunger to one side, remove the nut, the steel plate stays on, and then if we want to use this as, let's say, a grout gun, we will put the non-split plunger on to the thread, putting the nut inside, turning that so that the thread is flush with the top of the plunger, and then tighten that all into place with the spanner on the back nut as you saw earlier. So there we have that nice and tight. If you want that really tight, then hold on to the hook at the end of the bar. So there we have our grouting plate, our grouting plunger, and this one would also be used for bulk loading, so that we can bring this forward. We put the tube on, slide the tube on. It's a lovely tight fit. Before we load anything, it's always a good idea to load from the front, by the way, the nozzle end, and before we've put the caps back on, use a cloth to clean the end of the thread. We then remove the nozzle holder by pushing in the two side springs, pushing that out, putting that to one side, and then in the case of grout, we will put our grouting tube in to the end and screw that up nice and tightly, And while I'm doing this, you'll see a shot of it being used as a grout gun. By following the comprehensive instructions that come with the gun can be used for a number of different applications. The first is a bulk loading gun. Use the tube as a syringe, suck up the mastic, clean the end of the gun, put in the correct nozzle, and you have a bulk loaded mastic gun. Then, by adding a dome to the end of the plunger, we can use it as a sausage gun. Add your sealant or adhesive sausage, put on the correct nozzle, and we have a sausage gun. And finally, we can remove the plastic plungers, leaving the steel plate, adding a tube of mastic as is, and we have a normal sealant gun. Another great tool from Roughneck.